Hi, how's everybody? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying Friday. I hope you'll excuse my puffy eyes. It's been an emotional day, to say the least. But I'm here and I'm excited to teach you this. I feel like there's so much information as we're talking about our microbiome. Um, and I feel like I say this every week, but our hi, sweet friend. um, Hi, Tiff. But So I'm gonna break this one down because as I was going through the talking about our microbiome and as I was going through the course, I feel like it's way too much information to try and give in one class. I'm going to talk about the first part and introduce our microbiome, talk about what it is, how it's beneficial, and then I'm going to leave you guys with the invitation to do the wellness um, assessment based on their the doTERRA wellness assessment. And I'll upload that into the comments so you guys can do that. And then next week we will continue from there. So we're going to take your results, and based on the results you have, we'll talk about really the results I have. But hopefully it'll be helpful for you. But we'll talk about the how you can use the new probiome system, the probiome restore and the probiome assist, to help regulate and take care of your microbiome. So that's sort of my plan. There's just so much good information, and of course, like as you're if you get a chance to take the course, because I'm gonna miss stuff. Because and what I've gotten through is Dr. O, and then oh good, I got the thumbs up from Tiffany. So we're going to talk. Anyways, Dr. O and Dr. Riggs both talk about a lot of stuff. So I want to give them their credit because this is where I'm getting the information from in this first part. So let me share my screen and we're going to jump right in. And it's a little unfortunate that I couldn't, and if somebody can find it, that would be so great. But I couldn't actually find, normally doTERRA provides these, but maybe because they're not coming out with this stuff until October. I don't know. Anyways, um, oh, you can't even see that. Sorry, guys. Um, I don't know. I could find lots of information on the probiome, but I couldn't find an actual like script or um PowerPoint. So that's why it took me a little bit longer to get together. But we're talking about our microbiome, specifically probiome. Can I? No, I can't. Anyways, so when we take, this is like a big thing that Dr. Oscathorpe was talking about. When we take care of our microbiome takes care of us. And some of you might be asking, like, what let me go back. Stuff isn't pulling up like I want it to. That's okay. Like, what is our microbiome? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to take a deep dive into that. But in a nutshell, our microbiome is a system within our body made up of bacteria, fungi, and viruses. That if we're taking care of that, as negative stuff comes in, right? Like negative bacteria, negative fungi, negative viruses. If we have a full microbiome, as those bad ones come in, there isn't a place for them to lay or to, and I'll talk more about this, but if there isn't as those bad ones come in, if we have a full microbiome, there isn't a place for them to lay and infect and spread. And so that's one of the reasons why it's so important for us to take care of our microbiome, is because it's a way that our body naturally takes care of itself. And the more I do these, the more I learn about our bodies and essential oils and doTERRA products, the more I'm just fascinated by the thought and the care, and I feel like I say this every week too, but the more I just I just love that doTERRA thinks so much about this. So that was in a nutshell, but I'm going to give you what they say. And I don't know why my titles aren't showing up, but it is what it is. Okay. So human beings coexist with trillions of tiny organisms called microbes, right? And those microbes make up our microbiome. So it's like the microbiome is like an invisible organ that influences our health all throughout the body, not just the gut. I know a lot of times when we hear that word microbiome, we just think of our gut, but it's so much more than that. So it plays a very crucial role in supporting our cells and our vital organs. But it also plays a crucial role in disruptions. So the bad stuff that can come in that can harm our health. So lifestyle factors such as diet, sleep, stress, activity level, and environment, all of those things impact our microbiome, which will make this connection. But doTERRA has, dare I say, the perfect system. I believe the perfect system to help us combat all of those things, right? And that's the wellness pyramid, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But the course, and this is where I'm getting all my information from, the doTERRA Probiome Products course delves into the importance of a healthy microbiome and its impact on our digestion, our immune system, our metabolic system, right, and our mental health. It emphasizes a role on our habits, and the doTERRA Priome. I'm having a hard time. Probiome products. They allow our bodies to produce really what we can't get from our food. So this course, when you take the course, not just here, but if you go and you take the course online, it highlights the significant change that can come from a healthy microbiome. So cool. So, and I've learned a ton so far. So in the course, they liken our microbiome to a vibrant garden, which I just love. They talk about the gardener and the garden, right? And much like a garden, this microbiome that we have has a lot of different bacteria, viruses, and fungi that serve as like different plants and insects. So that's kind of what we're going to think, right? So just as a healthy garden needs a balanced mix of flora and fauna to thrive there, right? Like it needs good bugs to eat the bad bugs. It needs good soil so it can grow. It needs the right amount of water, right? All of that stuff. Our body really relies on a diverse and balanced microbiome for health. So our gut microbiome, much like the microbial gardeners, that aids, and we know this, right? The gut microbiome aids in our food digestion, how we absorb our food, and also protection against our invaders. So, and that is similar to the garden's role as it breaks down its organic matter to safeguard against pests. But when our microbiome is imbalanced, from things like poor diet, stress, medication use, all of that can lead to significant health problems, right? And so to maintain that, we have to nurture it, much like a gardener nurtures their garden, through a diverse diet, sufficient sleep, and then stress management. And I've shared a lot about sleep and stress management over the course. When did I start teaching this? In April. So you can always go back and find those. But all of those things are very similar to the gardener as they tend their garden with water, sunlight, and weed removal, right? I'm just gonna check on this. Yes, yes, a healthy ecosystem. I love it. It is a perfect system. Love all of this stuff. Oh, it's coming in November. Maybe that's why it hasn't. So yes, it's an ecosystem. We have a perfect ecosystem inside of us. Okay. So here we go. This is what Nikki just pointed out, right? Microbiomes function as ecosystems, sensitive, right? They're sensitive to temperature, pH balance, nutrients, and the environment. And healthy microbiomes are characterized by a greater abundance of these beneficial microbes. And I wish I couldn't find really any good photos from the course, the education course, but they have really cool they have really cool like photos of microbiomes. Of course it's like computer generated, but it shows you how like these microbiomes sort of sit like this, and they're kind of like these pods inside of us. And as the bad stuff comes in, right, and tries to land, it can't land. And so if we don't have those pods, right, and they can attach to us, the bad stuff can attach to us. So I wish I had those pictures to show you. But go take the course so you can see them in there. But let's see. Yeah. So, and we need a variety of microbes because our body does different things. And so these different microbes help us with different areas in our body, right? They help us with metabolizing food. They help us with our immune system. They help us with digestion. And Dr. O talks about maybe let me see if I can. Yeah. He talks about this, like why are we just now learning about the microbiome? Like why haven't we heard about this stuff before? And this is what he says. He says that understanding the microbiome has been a slow and complex process because it's unique to each person. Just like our fingerprint, right? Just like if you're looking to lose weight, you have to find what works for you, right? If you're looking for support with your sleep, you're unique, so you have to find what works best for you. And so he goes on to say that despite its importance, it's intricate, adaptable, and still somewhat of a mystery. He says recent cutting edge research has expanded our knowledge of the microbiome's health and impact on health, but the constant flow of new findings can make it challenging to provide actionable recommendations, which I just go back to like the one size doesn't fit all, right? Nevertheless, it's crucial to apply what we do know about the microbiome because it has significant impact on overall health and wellness. And this is like according to Gretchen, but I think how doTERRA has like the systems that they've created really allow us to give us what our bodies need in terms of nutrients support and things like that. And it also allows us to find what works for us, right? So they've really thought of both pictures, like both sides of that picture or the big picture. So I just really, really appreciate that. Because for me, being with doTERRA and being a part of doTERRA isn't a one size fits all. It's what's going to work best for you and your family. And that's one thing that really resonates with me. Because I've done lots of diets and lots of things that everybody else is doing, right? And it's just never worked. And then when I finally got on board with like what works best for me, doTERRA came into my life more abundantly. So let's talk about any thoughts on this. I'm just gonna see if we have any other thoughts on this. Yes. I've definitely loved learning how our microbiome isn't just about isn't just about our gut. So it's so much more. Okay. So let's take a little dive into how our microbiome is more than just our gut biome, right? So Dr. O talks about this. He talks about how, again, we need a variety when it comes to our microbiome because it can assist in a variety of different things, right? It deals with bacteria, with fungi, and with viruses, all of which are beneficial for us, right? We need that good stuff all throughout our body. He also talks about how microbiomes have niches or niches, depending on how you say it. And these microorganisms, they reside in different parts of our body. So he talks about the brain. He teaches about the nose, right? Really, anywhere our mucous membrane is. He talks about our gut. He talks about our skin. So they each serve a specific. They each have a specific role within our body. And because of that, we need a variety of them. I tell my oldest son, he eats bread, just like white bread all the time. And my husband and I tell him all the time, like, hey, you need to, yes, if you want a pickle, go have dad get you one. He keeps complaining of stomach issues. And I'm like, it's because all you eat is white bread. Like, you need more than that. So maybe I should teach him this. Okay. So another reason why our microbiome is throughout us all. Microbes in our microbiome depend on each other. Similar to, I feel like humans are made for connection, right? We're hardwired for connection. Microbes in our microbiome depend on each other, right? And if we have the same kind, right? If we have a lot of one kind, they can only depend on that one kind. And this is something I'm going to come to. I didn't really dive into this, but I will in a couple slides. So the lack of food diversity in modern diets affects the diversity in our microbiome. And that can really have a harsh, I'll put it in. That can really have a harsh issue, that can be really hard on our system because, again, we're not able to provide it with the diversity that it needs. And maybe I'll just skip there right now. Because I'm going to ask you guys, like, what have you learned? So, and this is what, as I was going through all of this, this is what stood out to me so much. So 75% of the plant genetic diversity has been lost as farmers worldwide have left multiple local varieties for genetically uniform high yielding crops. I'm going to add like wheat and corn and things like that, right? So of the 250,000 to 300,000 known edible plant species, that blows my mind. Humans only use 150 to 200 plant species to eat, which is crazy. Like, that statement is crazy to me. Today, 75% of the world's food is generated from only 12 plants and 5 animal species. Modern food systems effectively starve our microbiome of the diversity that it needs to thrive. Like that, when I heard Dr. O talk about that at convention, like I was just shocked. Like as he says it, it makes a ton of sense, right? Like as I look in my pantry over yonder, it's like, what do I have available in terms of like the cereal that I have in there, right? It's like corn or wheat, right? Or there's just not a lot of variety, right? Even with our meats, right? I know other countries eat more than we do here in America, but it's like beef, chicken, pork, fish. What would be the fifth one? I don't know. I can only think of 4, right? There's just not a lot of variety. And even the food that we do have, and Dr. O has talked about this before, like that is stripped, and Dr. Riggs has talked about this before. I need to find that the content that he uses, Dr. Riggs, but he says like we've created right? Like Dr. Riggs will go out into his garden. He gets this apple and it's big and it's juicy and it's sweet, right? And he bites into it and it tastes so good. But years and years and hundreds of years ago, right? Like apples were small and they were sour and they were nutrient dense. And so over the years, we've added, right? We've added the sweet, but we've taken out the nutrients. So the more I learn about that, the more I'm just really blown away. So another reason that our microbiome is more than our gut, right? So when we're feeding our microbiome that diversity, when we're giving it that diversity, it makes our bodies more resilient because different microbes can step in, right? If one doesn't, which I just think is so, I think it's so cool. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this. The only thing I can think of is like sister wives. So that's not really a good one. But maybe Vicky and I'm just gonna see. It is lamb. Thank you. It is, yes, Tiffany. It's like we're stuck in this never-ending cycle. Yeah, it's crazy. Like as I'm like teaching this, I'm like, this seems kind of redundant, but I feel like the system that we're in is redundant. So I can't think of, oh, well, yes, I can. So oftentimes, so I have issues with my hips. I've had bursitis in my hips for a while, and I don't know if it's still there, but it used to be there. And because I had bursitis, right, like I would feel the tightness on my left side and lots of pain. But what was happening is my left side was taking over for my right side because my right side was so weak. And so, right, like that system of my body, that muscular system of my body was taking over. So that's similar to these microbes, that we have to have a diverse microbiome because when one doesn't work, the other one can step in. And if we don't have that, then it can't do that. And then there's this gut-brain connection, right? Your gut health influences your mood, your cognition, your mental health, your pain sensitivity, all through that gut-brain axis. And I'm gonna go, and I'm actually gonna read that part. Oh, maybe I get to it. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to get to that. And so I'm going to dive deeper into that gut-brain connection, right? And then finally, we have our skin, right? We need this microbiome to take care of our skin and our immunity. So this diverse microbiota on our skin, our eyes, our ears, in our reproductive tract play a crucial role in protecting and educating our immune system, right? Like our skin is our body's first defense from attackers. And if we're not taking care of our skin, it's not going to, right? Like if we're not taking care of our skin, it's not going to be able to take care of us. It makes a lot of sense. Hey, so here's the gut brain, right? So the brain acts as our central processing unit, right? It's everything. Well, not everything, because there's lots of other things, but it's a lot of things, right? It interprets and sends out signals to our body to breathe, to chew, to sleep, to, right, pump our blood, like all of the things, to talk, to process emotions, all of those things. And it's a chain. There's a chain of short chain fatty acids that connects the brain to the gut. And with those microbes in this chain, right? So just think of a chain from your brain to your gut, right? And we have all these little lumps. I can't think of this. Sorry, guys. Right? Like there's a connection, right? And if like the brain gut connection isn't working, then it's going to influence all of that stuff. So it's going to influence our mood, our cognition, our mental health, our pain. Stress triggers reactions in the gut. I don't know if you guys know this, But when we're in fight or flight mode, our digestion actually slows down because and the body sends blood away to the essential organs and to our extremities so that we can get into that fight or flight mode. But if we're always in the stress response, our gut is not working the way that it needs to, right? It just can't. And so when stress triggers that reaction in the gut, if we're doing what we need to, like through stress management, through taking care of our microbiome, then it just all works together. So anyways, I hope that makes sense. I really want to learn more about the brain and the brain gut brain connection. Something I really want to learn more about. Okay, any thoughts on this? Let's see. Yeah, it's mainly turkey and chicken, occasionally salmon and lamb. Yeah, and ours is our diet is lots of beef, red meat, pork, mostly red meat. So sometimes we do fish, but it's definitely not enough. And yes, our microbiome makes up 70% of our body. Huge, huge, huge. Okay. So let's talk about our microbiome and how it works. So we have respiratory microbes, right? So our nose, our sinuses, and our lungs, those are all essential to our immune health. And we are continuous, like as I'm talking, as I'm breathing, we are continuously introducing microorganisms into our body through breathing. So if we're not taking care of that, right, then we're going to get sick. Our mouth, right? Like, I don't know if my dentist has ever told me, but right, we've been told that there are hundreds and thousands of germs in our mouth, right? And our mouth has its own unique microbiome affected by different things: water intake, nutrients, temperature, right? How well we take care of our teeth. And this was really cool, that the alcohol-based mouthwash that we've been using has been linked to sugar metabolism problems, but it's also, Dr. Riggs talks about this, it's also the alcohol-based mouthwash kills the bad stuff, but it also kills the good stuff, right? Like similar to antibiotics, it kills the good stuff. And so if we're not taking care of our oral microbiome and we're consistently giving it things that kill the bacteria, like it's not going to have anything good in there when the bad bacteria comes in. So I just thought that was really fascinating. And then this gut, right? Our gut microbiome. So the microbial communities in our stomach, in our intestines, in our liver, our colon, those are all crucial for overall health. Of course, it influences how we absorb what we eat, and even how food affects our genes. Yeah. Okay. And then so those are so our brain, our respiratory system, our mouth, right, nose, mucous membrane areas, and then our gut. Those are the main places where our microbiome is and helps us. So, and how it works is it communicates with us and with each other, and it serves as a sensor for our external environment and communicates bi-directionally, so both ways, right, with our brain and with our tissues and organs. Like for me, that's pretty hard to comprehend, like how it communicates. But I just think it's fascinating that it does communicate, and it does it in a two-directional way. It's not just one way, right? It's a two-way street. Oh, and this was really cool too. So our microbiome develops. So it undergoes a rapid development in infancy and early childhood. So I think Dr. Riggs talked about how within, I'm going to butcher it. Maybe I'll go find it. Can I find it? Are you guys okay with that? So as we age, our microbiome changes. So it goes, just like I talked about, it goes through that rapid development. Microfloral colonization of the GI tract begins at birth. So within a few days, so just a few days, right? Our amazing bodies have a complex microbial ecosystem established. Did it die? Yeah. Oh, go. Sorry. Okay, go charge it, please. And then you can watch the show. So that's just within a few days, right? In a few days, our body has established a microbial system within our gut. Within a month, the newborn's microflora is predominantly composed of the these two right here. And then within 1 to 2 years, the microflora resembles that of a young adult. Like that's amazing to me. And then after that period, that early period of rapid growth and development, it stabilizes. And then by the time we reach 60, it has declined, which is why they call it loose ground, which is why we need to be taking probiotics to fill us back up, to fill in those gaps. So that's kind of what this is. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. So we're just learning more about the interconnectedness between the microbiomes and the various aspects of health, like I talked about earlier. But again, it's really important for us as we're learning to take care of our health, right? And overall wellness and looking at the systemic wellness that we have. It's really important for us to understand it and learn how to support it as we move throughout our life. So here's my question. What have you guys learned so far about the microbiome that was new to you or expanded what you already understood? And I shared mine. So I'm going to see if we are complex individuals. I have to get this endocrine. Yes, and Vicky and Sarah both they do a combined podcast called the Essential Oil Scoop. So we have that as a resource for us if you're not able to get the if you're not able to get, like, if you don't have time to access the course, go find they're right here. Find them and find their podcasts and they can help you. And Vicky, I'm just putting a plug out there for myself. If you need people on your podcast, please let me know. Yeah, I need to get this endocrine. Okay. Yeah, in only a few days. Okay. So that's what I've learned. Just about that was what was most powerful for me is what we're eating and what we're eating and that kind of stuff. So in this course, Dr. Riggs goes in to talk about what sort of lifestyle we need and what sort of lifestyle habits we need to create a healthy microbiome. And so he talks about how we have a shared problem. And that shared problem, right? Like the two things that we all have in common are we're all born and we all die. And so we also have this shared problem as we grow older, that the microflora inside us declines. And this is really important for us to know, because as we're aging, we need to take time to understand what we need to do and what nutrients we need and supplements we need to take so that we can proactively care for ourselves, right? And care for our microbiome because so that it can take care of us. And again, doTERRA already has a system in place that can do that for us, right? And they've just added even more stuff to help us do that even better. So the foundation, let's talk about the foundation, let's talk about the wellness pyramid and how that promotes a healthy microbiome. Okay. So the foundation of this pyramid is the nutrition and digestion. And because, so I feel like I've talked a little bit about this, but our microbiome is healthiest when we're eating a balanced diet, right? That's rich in a variety of food, right? All of the colors, especially raw fruits and vegetables, and then fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, or kefir. I do love kimchi and I love sauerkraut. I haven't actually tried kefir, but I do know that all of those are really good for your body. And we all know this, that we should be staying away from processed foods. So I thought this was a pretty interesting fact that research has shown that fast food can decrease the number and the variability bacteria in our gut, which can lead, of course, to weight challenges. I wonder if it shows in terms of what that does for your digestion. I'd be interested to see those. So we need to get this nutrition and digestion. That needs to be the strongest foundation. And so if you're looking to work on anything, then work on this first one. So the next one is movement and metabolism, right? We all know that movement, exercising, and caring, we all know that movement is helpful for our bodies. I was at the gym this morning and my trainer has us do sprints. So today we were doing Litinoff sprints. Basically what it is you have a kettlebell and you swing it 8 times and then you sprint and then you walk back. And he's like, as we were doing this, he's like, your fast twitch muscles are the fastest, the first muscles to go, which are fast twitch muscles, are the muscles that allow us to react quickly, right? And as we get older, and those fast twitch muscles, if we're not working on those, if we're not sprinting, then those are the muscles that don't kick in when we fall, right? Or that we can't catch ourselves when we fall. So I'm grateful that he does that for us. So studies have suggested that exercises enhances and encourages a microbiome diversity. Exercise is just so good. It's so good for our health, and not even exercise, like just movement. I know and I've talked about this. I think I talked about this last week. Right? Like just getting up and walking around is so good for you. For your mental health, for your physical health, all those things. And then the next one, of course, like once we've worked on that, rest and managing stress. So we need rest and we need good stress management skills to support a healthy flora. So, and it's easy to overlook sleep, but as we learned last week, sleep affects nearly every aspect of our health, just like our microbiome, right? Sleep is so important. That's when we process emotions. That's when our body takes the events of the day and processes those. It takes from our short-term memory, right? Our memories from our short-term to our long-term. It resets our cells. Like sleep is, it's so good. It's so good. So if we can prioritize sleep, right? Once we've worked on this nutrition and digestion, movement and metabolism, and we can work on prioritizing sleep and stress management. if we can do all of that and work on the health of our microbiome, we're going to create a positive feedback loop for all of those areas, which I think is cool, right? It's a way for us, like Tiffany mentioned, it's a way for us to get out of the crazy cycle, right? That like nonstop cycle that the system has set up for us. Because we get to be in charge of ourselves. Okay. Oh, I have that in there twice. Okay. So, and then we get to move up the pyramid, right? We get to move up into reducing toxicity. And this is, I thought this was really interesting that Dr. Riggs talked about this. Sorry guys. He says, as you consider how to engage in informed self-care for yourself and your family, he suggested to limit heavy sanitization, right? Like, I feel like we've been in a world where it's like sanitize everything, wear masks, do all these things, right? Like, but when we use heavy sanitizers, when we're always using like antibacterial stuff, right? Antimicrobial stuff, like, yes, we're killing the bad, but we're also killing the good. So I just love that he says this. He says sanitizers, yes, they can protect against pathogens, but the purpose of our microbiome is to help our bodies take care of itself. So disinfecting every crevice and corner of our life can prevent those friendly microbes, right, from thriving and halting and halt the information that could be essential for our optimal bodily function. Most of the common hand sanitizers are for our, most of the sanitizers, common sanitizers are for our hands. And doing so clears off both unhealthy and healthy microbes, right? But really what it does is it's leaving space for anything to land there. So if we think about that, this is again, just according to Gretchen, right? Like, while we're killing, again, this goes back to our mouth too, like, while we're killing off the bad and the good, we're also opening ourselves up for much, much worse things. I don't know if this has been proven, but again, this is just according to Gretchen. Like, I noticed that when I started using antibacterial soap consistently, I actually got more sick, right? And I know people, like, when my boys were young, it's like, oh, just let them eat dirt. Like, it's good for their immune system, right? Like, being dirty and getting dirty and having good germs on us keeps us from the bad germs. So, and he talks about, Dr. Riggs always recommends using a simple soap, right? Like doTERRA On Guard, because it cleans, right? But it doesn't necessarily sterilize, which is what I feel we need to get back to. So he goes on to talk about, in addition to stacking these health habits, right? If we can get into high quality supplementation, that can fill in the gaps that we're missing in our nutrition so that our human and microbial cells have everything that they need to thrive, right? Talking about the LLV, the lifelong vitality. And doTERRA has made specific supplementation, from vitamins to minerals, right, to digestive enzymes. They've created solutions for us, right? Solutions for this shared problem, which is so cool. So we're not going to get into Dr. Nicole Stevens stuff today, but when we come back next week, we will. But with this new probiome and the PB Restore and the PB Assist Plus, doTERRA has created a way for us to take prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics, and these bacteriophages, which help all of that, right? It helps with all of it. It's so cool. So this is where I'm going to leave you. I'm going to have you guys take the wellness lifestyle assessment. I'm going to leave it in your I'm going to leave it in the comments so that you can take that. And then we come back, we're going to see how doTERRA's products, specifically this PB Restore and the PB Assist, can help you on your journey to creating a healthy microbiome. So, I'm just gonna, I think that's it. Yeah. So I'm gonna stop share. I'm gonna come back. Um, yes, distance with, yeah. So I'm just reading these comments. Yes, our mouth is a natural filter. And you know what? I also learned that our liver has a natural filter system. um, okay, so it looks like you can listen to Vicky and Sarah on Spotify. And that we are definitely doing our body a disservice if we're not paying attention to it. And I'm glad to hear that you're working on your sleep routine. And yes, healthy swaps are super simple. And that's right. Like doTERRA has provided us with healthy swaps that are super simple. And it doesn't require, I just meeting with my hormone doctor, she like wants me to take all of this extra stuff. And I'm like, I just can't, like, it's so much. I'm like, what can I just switch right now? Like, what can I just switch? So, okay. So I am going to leave you with putting that in the standards, not the standards. I'm sorry. I'm going to do that right now, actually. I might have to wait to do it. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just trying to, it's not going to work for me. Okay. I don't know if it will let me. Let me see if I can paste it. Because I have it as a PDF, but maybe it'll let me. I don't know what that is. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. Ugh, it might not open it because it's. Tiffany, will you let me know if this opens? Will you let me know if this open, like if you can open this in Facebook? I know the technology makes me crazy. Will you see if you can open that? If not, I'll probably have to shut it down and then upload it a different way. So, okay. I hope that this was beneficial for you guys. I know I learned a lot. And again, like I said, like this is so much information to take in. So I wanted to make sure that we're doing it in bite-sized pieces, because, right, we want to just do everything in bite-sized pieces as best we can. So, okay, I'll do it a different way after I end this then. Okay, I hope you guys have a beautiful night, a beautiful weekend. Go spend time with your loved ones. And I will see you next week. And it will be Thursday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we'll finish this up. So I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.